Is wrong. That's my question.
I'm gonna say no, and it
No.
don't matter
Well,
because I
you
ain't
ain't
gonna
gonna
be
know,
here.
but your family members
So
that's still
what?
here.
They had a problem with her. Okay,
Wait,
that's the other thing. People will mess up your happiness trying to tell you how long you should wait, who you should be with. I consider the source, right? If the person is dead, the person is dead.
yeah, but
Do you
if
do
but
you
if
think
I'm
the
your
extended family members would be more comfortable with her getting with somebody who they don't know
I tell you
yeah,
who. I tell
rather
you.
than somebody
because
that
But
they
there's
I
do
will
know?
say this,
there's other
Craig.
fish in the
Craig.
pond.
Craig.
Why
I'm
you
gonna
gotta
tell
go
y'all
after the
this.
fish that's been
I'm
around?
gonna tell you where your problem gonna come in at. Because that same friend that I talked about earlier does not have a relationship with one of his daughters right now because of that. So your children are going to have a problem
Yeah, because they been
with
seeing you.
Uncle
Yeah,
Keith becoming
They're gonna have a
my
problem with
stepdaddy.
anybody.
exactly.
They're
Yeah.
gonna have a problem with
Yeah.
anybody.
Hey,
I just
it started from time frame and then it evolved to who.
Watch this, y'all. I'm the best friend he's got.
Hey man, you got a phone
Give
call.
him the shirt off my back.
You got a
He
phone
Hey.
call.
knows he can trust me
Never
with
should
his
have
life.
trust
gonna be
me
calling
this
about
Time
some
frame,
But
you
every
should
time
not
it
be
leaves me
Thank you,
alone.
married
DJ.
in 3
Leave me
months.
alone,
You should-
little wife.
Married.
The
Yeah,
verdict
in
is
3 months.
the verdict is in.
And then
Is it?
it definitely
That somebody said the verdict is in.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Uh-oh.
and it definitely shouldn't be your best friend.
At
And let's
that part,
see,
man.
they went into deliberation
Or a
at
relative.
8:30 this morning.
minutes yesterday.
Yeah, and then 30 minutes today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now I think that they go, and if they
Think.
don't, if they don't, it's gonna be hell to pay.
I mean, it's pretty much
They deliberated last night. They came back and deliberated half
30
an
minutes.
hour this morning. I'm not gonna say what it is now because we got caught with OJ, right? They's in there for
Yeah.
2 hours,
Yeah.
and we come out, so we'll see what it is. Caller, welcome to the program. Uh-oh.
Greg,
Hey, why don't you do this, George? We're watching the
no,
verdict.
here I am.
Oh, you
Oh,
said they're just about
oh, okay, y'all going to break? Okay, I'll hold on while y'all go to break.
All right, because we're watching the verdict. All right, man.
We're going to break. We're going
Okay.
What we call?
bring the volume up. I'm going to zoom the camera in on it. Okay, take us to break then.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
AM 106.5 FM WNOV, the voice. Welcome back. And corpse,
Hiding a corpse.
Without recommendation. At this point, we will select a sentencing date.
I'm not surprised.
Due to the PSI, we are looking 60 days.
Yeah, I mean, from the evidence and
Yeah.
him being on the city bus,
You got
camera,
video like that showing
On
him.
the
I mean,
week
you
of the
know,
18th.
particularly the one in Warner Park. That was surprising as to how, you know, how much video they had from different locations.
Even
State chime in first. I'm pretty flexible.
And when the government
even
says
like
there's certain
Victor's, they
places
had
can't find
video from him and her being at Victor's.
The week of August 11th. would be
and when
the
they got there and when he got home, they got
slot if we could.
The 15th
video
at
footage
10
of him
o'clock.
leaving out the back door.
August 15th at 10 o'clock.
Will be the sentencing.
Yeah.
Or they finding
Yes.
no, they're finding
The
times
next
now.
court date will be
No, they
calendared
just-
for
they just-
August 15th at 10 o'clock for the
Yeah.
sentencing.
So gentlemen, you can bring the volume down now. We've got the gist of.
Wow.
Gentlemen, do you think this verdict is in line with what should have occurred?
Of course, man. Listen, man. This man knew what he did. He was the last one with her. He took a picture of her when she was laying on the couch. Her car was burnt up. It's video
He was in
footage
that
of you.
neighborhood.
Yeah, it's video footage of you leaving from where the car was set on fire. You on the city bus. But
It's just too much circumstantial.
my
evidence.
thing is too.
Who
was that other
I've got
blood?
the camera on the screen here, so we see the family as they, and then I'm not going to say celebrate, but they seem to have some sense of justice.
Now, my question is, now I know they said, man, that they found some other blood
It's accountability
in the house. Do y'all think that he got more under his
I
belt?
personally
And
think
they
this
just-
ain't, you know, something like this don't just happen
exactly,
one off.
exactly. Like
You
you
know,
don't just do it for the first time. And
Yeah, you know, they showed all the weapons and things he had. Well, knives, the different types of knives, but just
And
to
they
know the
found women
process that he
clothes,
went
too.
through. Yeah,
Wayne
know-
Williams was convicted on fibers. That's the Atlanta child murderers. It was fibers, carpet fibers,
Mhm.
and that was dubious. So there's just too much, man. Too
Yeah.
much video evidence, and he might have did a very good job. They always say that criminals, 50 things can go wrong. The average criminal's only going to think of 25 of them. But the circumstantial evidence was so strong, man, that they're. And look, it only took them about an hour when you
Total,
include
yeah,
last night
deliberation,
and then
yeah.
this morning.
But what they say, 30 minutes this morning, 20 minutes yesterday, or
Yeah,
something.
So less than an hour. I mean, that's just how overwhelming.
yeah, they had all of the evidence. They had, like, it was pretty much laid out for them.
And there, like I said, there's been people who've
Well,
been convicted.
that just shows that the prosecution really, I was really impressed with the prosecution's case.
Yeah.
To be able to go back and pull all of the different footage that they had to go back and pull and
I wouldn't,
you know that the
But
fact
it
that a
also-
lot of that footage was never even gone. It wasn't gone like
But the-
Victor's.
I wasn't impressed because they got all this stuff at their disposal anyway.
right.
No,
but the number
they
of
just did their
video
job.
cameras
Yeah.
That's right.
that
No,
you
but
had
it just
throughout the
shows.
city,
Yeah.
you know that.
Man, look, they
If they
went
want you,
to,
they gonna
but
get you.
I'm saying Victor's is shut down, closed, gone out of business. But
Yeah,
they got
so they
video
had to get
footage
that,
from
yeah.
Victor's
Yeah.
with him and her
Yeah.
there 2 days before she became missing, or at some point prior to that, to just show that it wasn't no one-off, it wasn't no
But if
trick,
these
there wasn't
are
no
the-
dating going on,
If these are
as
the
far as, like,
authorities that they
prostitution or nothing.
claim to be, then all of that was going to be to their disposal
Yeah, 'cause it
anyway.
was
Because
something that
this
they were
was
supposed to
this
do.
was
Not necessarily. How did they know to go to Victor's?
Because
Somebody
all-
did their homework.
it's all in that
yeah,
area.
yeah. It's just doing proper detective work.
You do the pings on the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much technology now.
Yeah.
Where you can really kind of track it.
And that becomes the question: is whether they're going to put the effort in to go get whatever evidence
Exactly.
may be out
Yeah.
there.
Exactly.
You know, because not every investigation is conducted.
Because now for
and that's
me, now
true.
y'all correct me if I'm wrong. All I remember is that this leg washed up.
Yeah.
How did they know that
Right.
it was Sade's leg?
Because she
Who-
been
Well,
reported
DNA.
missing.
And then
Right,
other
but I'm
parts,
saying somebody
right?
put the pieces together,
Yeah,
and then
DNA work.
they figured
Yeah.
out. And then when the body part showed up in Waukegan, I think
Yeah,
it was
Waukegan.
somewhere, they found that. And Warnemount Park, the leg was found. How did they pull out? Somebody did they work.
So they know the car based off of registration.
Mm-hmm.
They know the places that they were at based off of. He used to go to Duke's, and he used
I
to go
get it.
to the other place.
Victor's.
They
I get
were
it.
they were seen there visibly.
How did they get that video from that lady saying he did it? He did it.
Well,
Somebody videotaped him
Yeah.
walking down the street, leaving the scene of that
Yeah.
fire.
'Cause you
He
interview
did that.
You interview everybody in the area.
Yeah,
But how you know she was there that day?
Yeah.
no, but
She might have came out.
it's cameras.
His
all
That ain't what
type
I'm
of
talking about. This was a
girlfriend- his
black
girlfriend
somebody
contacted
on
the
their
cops.
cell
She-
phone.
Yeah. Somebody
They got her
heard that.
cell phone
Yeah.
footage
Somebody
saying
seen him. Yeah.
he did that. He set that car on
Yeah.
fire.
Somebody
as he
seen
was
him
walking
set the
away.
car on fire, and she.
Remember we talked about this? We have a conversation about something.
Yeah.
And then a couple minutes later we go on our phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it come up.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
be listening to us. They know where we
Now
at.
I do
and
know
what
that
all
that
we
liquor
doing.
store right
That
there
is
on
true.
29th. I know that they have footage as he was walking through that
Right.
gangway there. I know they got their footage. You
They-
expect that from a business to
They
turn
got
over
the
their
Milwaukee
cameras.
County
Oh,
Transit
man, I'm
System
saying
footage.
they got these
You know,
satellites will pick up your
technology is-
view.
I'm not impressed. It's just they did their job.
See, now
When
Craig
they
done went deeper.
need
He said Big
evidence,
Brother
they
them
got evidence.
got the satellites that they can go in and put a time in and see you walking
Right,
through there.
that's
Is that
right.
what, is
On
that
the
what you're
street.
trying to tell me? Look, Craig.
Yeah.
Listen here, man.
Hey.
Just like with these homicides, man. Police know who committing these homicides because there's cameras everywhere. They know all about the drive-by shootings. They just doing their homework, and some take longer than others to actually catch up to the people. But they
I'd go
know,
a
man.
step
There's
further and
cameras
say-
everywhere.
Even if they gonna take their duty serious enough to go do the work,
Right.
because a lot of them, depending on
Yeah,
who the
it's just a
person is, their
paycheck.
status in life,
Yeah.
they just let them
Well,
go
how could you not?
and won't even
how
follow
could
up
you
on it.
not give maximum effort for a high-profile case like this?
Yeah.
Right.
You got a lot. You got a
Yeah.
lot riding on the line.
Mhm.
Look,
And
you
it's-
look at his face. Y'all talking about he come from money. There's some expectations there, particularly when and I'm saying this from experience because the DA here told us the Milwaukee County has this segregated racist history, and so Chisholm decided he didn't even do background check in my son's case.
Oh wow.
Didn't even do it, and I had to find that out 8 years later.
He didn't do a background check on any of the.
No,
Wow.
no.
I think but this would have been, I mean, for everybody involved, even the defense attorney, and the fact that he didn't put up a defense. They called no witnesses for the defense.
Who are you gonna call?
Well, I'm just saying
Some things
that
are
might be an
indefensible.
indicator of just how strong the case was that the county had compared to what he go in. He couldn't. I mean, and look, he was just trying to do reasonable doubt. I just need to get one juror.
Yeah,
To
that's
say I can't. But the fact, because when they said they wanted to deliberate last night, that was an indicator of something. And then to come in the first thing this morning, and I'm talking like a half an hour because they were supposed to go into deliberations at 8:30. When it came back that quickly, you could almost assume.
To most people,
Mhm.
it was a open and shut case.
Yeah, well, yeah. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you on there?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey.
Good morning.
What y'all talking about now? I've been on hold so long. I don't know. I can't hear what y'all be talking about.
The verdict was
Oh, the
just
verdict,
delivered.
for the
Oh, what
Saturday
happened?
Yeah,
He was found
Did they
guilty.
get him?
Yeah.
Good.
Guilty.
Good.
Well,
Guilty
let
on
me,
all counts, George. All counts.
Well, let me say this
Good.
though. There have been some other
The one that killed that young lady.
murders out there that wasn't high profile, and you just wonder how much effort is really going in to either clear those cases or to catch up with folks. But like I said, this was just it had everything. And you had sex, you had interracial sex, you had dismemberment, you had all these different things going on where it's going to be kind of hard to look there. So anyway,
I'm glad they got him.
Yep.
I didn't per se like the first date tag that they put on it because they
What was that?
clearly showed that it wasn't their first date. They were at Victor's prior to the night he killed her. So it wasn't
Right.
their first date.
Right.
And they was having prior conversation too, right? They was having
Right,
text messages
How
leading
you
up
feel
to
about
the
it,
day.
George?
Oh, I'm happy, man. You know, I'm to the point. I'm starting to get like my wife, man. You know, whatever they do it to them. You know that's you know, monsters walk amongst us, and people don't want to think that we got monsters, but
That's
monsters
real.
walk amongst us.
That is
You know,
real.
to do something like that to another human being, man. You know, that's just despicable.
Yeah,
So
but
I don't know if that dude's still alive that got Jeffrey Dahmer, and what was the other dude that killed his wife up at
Scarver died of cancer in prison.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, unless he repent and really repent, man. I hope did they give him time or just found him guilty?
not yet.
Sentencing is in August.
What was it, August 15th at 11 a.m. or something like that, 10 a.m., something like that? You'll hear more about it. Trust me, they're going to have it all over the screen.
Yeah, but you have to be a sick individual to sit there and chop a person up.
Yeah,
like you gotta really, really mentally be sick, because just having a little blood can make you feel a certain way, but you seeing all of that blood from the body, and of course it ain't gonna be in masses like that because you're not alive. So when you die and your blood turn cold, it ain't gonna be that much.
I agree with you. What level of disconnect from humanity do you have to reach in order to be able to, do something?
But you know what, Craig?
Go ahead,
but
bro.
Craig, you know what? Just taking a life, period, that you can go home, eat, kiss your babies, you know, and just like ain't nothing happened. Your life is still normal, man. I don't understand that. And me and Craig, me and you could have been justified in taking somebody's life.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. So there's a point to where you look at it as it's a personal attack or self-defense, like the brother who ran over the cop after they killed his son. I believe. So that kind of thing, you in your mind, you say to yourself, "See, I can see that," but this, it's like in your mind, you can't even fathom. You have to process that, and you start to say, where's the humanity? Where's the humanity?
I mean, I think you can ask that with every sense of violent act, because just because it was a cop or not a cop, you still should be able to ask, where's the humanity? Just because I'm not a cop and I do something unfortunate like that is humanity. That's not right.
That's true. There's a certain level of anger though when the
we have good
runs over the cop because his son got murdered.
Yeah.
No, right. And I'm talking about that initial, when you're talking about Maxwell, where's the humanity? Also, you ask the same thing with when the cops get to tripping, where's the humanity? And that it goes, it's both ways.
Keep popping,
the little
and especially
boy,
because we expect them to uphold themselves in a high standard.
Right. But the little boy who they killed and just threw him away.
Yeah, man, that still bothers me, man. Sometimes I be thinking, because my little grandsons, I think, how could you do that to a baby?
Right. So,
just another human being, period. We talk about police officers, but look what's happening in our communities right now.
Right.
We already done surpassed what was going on last year. I think, and the year before.
It's like this question Keith asked about this man killing his 3 daughters. That's a level. Again, it's how much can when you hear it, how much are you able to process and really say,
But you know what?
But
it goes back to something Jermaine. I think he spoke to this yesterday. How these folks are trained to be killers.
And then you don't deprogram them after they
you don't bring them back and give them
military. You just
nothing
let
to
them
try
go. So how
humanize them again?
So how can you program them?
Can I jump on 2 things real quick, brothers? I'm gonna let y'all go.
Okay.
When y'all were talking about the your spouse or your significant other, for you Bible scholars, don't it say that when your husband dies that she's supposed to marry your brother? Ain't that in the Bible? Somebody was telling me.
There is some scripture that speaks to that.
Wait,
what
scripture is that?
So again, are we taking this literal?
Yeah. What scripture is that? Because he ain't.
Because
they're
Craig
not
is
saying
my
blood
brother,
brother.
and
They're not saying blood brother. Come on.
Time out, everybody.
Here go my last thing because I have to get off because I'm on the road. I know y'all watched it last night.
Oh, the game?
Baby, I know where I'm going. It says 38 feet, okay? I got backseat driver, fellas. I got to forgive me.
What were you gonna comment on?
Maybe you should call us when you get to where you're going, man.
Sound like you ride on the horse.
Yeah, call us when you get to where you're going, and we'll pick it up
I
there.
know y'all did the same thing like I did last night. Not again.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, we're gonna get to
I
that.
didn't do that.
We're Indiana. But I just want to get mine in real quick because I'm on the road, fellas, and I got
Drive
a ways
safely,
to
bro.
go. So I just want to get that in. Thanks, y'all. Y'all be blessed.
You too.
All right.
Boy, there was a whole lot going on in that conversation.
And you want your wife to pick your next wife.
Let's say that's a prime example of don't do it. Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, I get back. We can kind of close this up, but I just think that there's no set period. I think it's up to the individuals. All these other circumstances, they may or may not be. How we react to it, I mean, that's it. But I think it's up to the two people to find their happiness, and everybody else be damn, because that's just your opinion. Because you probably hooked up with somebody that was questionable, right? That's why I was tripped on kids when their parents hook up with somebody and they got something to say, and when their parents are telling them you shouldn't have hooked up with Keith, you weren't even listening.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me paraphrase that scripture for you. It talks about a man who does not have any children. If he passes, that his brother should go in and give him a seed with the wife who was the widow. That's what the scripture.
Well, that was
it makes reference to.
I was Bishop Yvette Flunder.
I'm just saying, it's there.
Was just talking about this whole idea. She said, people say, you want a biblical marriage? And she was talking specifically to women. Do you really? No, you don't. Because based on the Bible, when your husband died, it was your brother's responsibility to take care of his widow. So now you've already been sold into marriage. Now you have no control over who you marry, and you just kind of pass down through the families because that's how you're getting taken care of. So,
and it was to keep his name going. And the seed.
It's always, societies have always been, any
Built
culture is
on-
about
absolutely
self-preservation.
preservation.
Yeah, I mean that is the bloodline becomes real important for folks. So, all right, wow, okay,
Man, this show went off the rails.
Yikes, that was heavy, man.
But it was. I think it was good men conversation.
And we
Men
didn't even
folk,
pull
you
the
know.
couch in here, neither, man.
Well, with the couch,
It
it
was
ain't,
close.
it ain't too late. The couch can still come out.
We didn't
It
pull the
was
couch.
close. Y'all
If we start talking about
people y'all know.
32-0, what's his record?
I'm 32-0, man.
With one pending.
No, ain't no penny.
Ain't no pendants. Okay.
Well, let me do this.
Cold blooded.
Y'all know, and I'm gonna try to do this, DJ. I know what you responded, man, but you know what we don't talk about on Fridays. Who we don't talk about on
Right,
Fridays.
that dude.
We
DJT.
don't even do anything adjacent because
Right, that's what he said.
There's no adjacent on Fridays now. DJ said we're gonna have to talk about it on Monday, but on Fridays. So let me do this. I don't know if y'all been watching this.
Is it unavoidable or inevitable?
No, it's we purposeful.
That name?
No, I just want to say that I don't think that it is a coincidence that
What's happening now?
Tweets are coming out. And,
Absolutely.
And also, I think that it's just really a game of charades.
It's a setup.
Okay.
And that's all I. That's all.
What are y'all referring to, though?
No, we ain't gonna do it.
I'm sorry, what are you
DJT.
referring to?
The women's college world series. I don't know if anybody been watching that.
I missed the game.
Texas.
Oh my God,
Texas Tech won?
she pitched. Yeah, she pitched last night. So they play tonight. The thing was though that Texas didn't pitch their ace last night. She's going to pitch tonight. Kavan. She's up against Kennedy. They're gonna pitch Kennedy. It looks like they're gonna pitch her again. So it's 3 days in a row. This young lady.
This is Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. Now, but Texas
against Texas.
Right, but Texas didn't do their ace last night. She'll pitch tonight. So man, it is, you know, between that, I was between that and the game, and I mean the NBA Finals. But to watch that, so if nothing else, watch these young ladies are balling. I mean, they are balling. So I'm really excited tonight to be able to go in and to watch that. All right. Let's see what we got here.
Take the call.
Yeah, we take the call. Take the call, man.
Take the call.
You gonna dance tonight, Tony? You gonna dance tonight? Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you're on there.
Hello?
Good morning, you're on there.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I just want to say to you guys, I don't mean no harm, but the whole conversation to me made not a whole lot of sense.
Which conversation
We
are you
don't
referring
call
to?
white people
About the
out
woman
for what they
and the
are.
man.
Yeah.
You don't do what?
We need. So we don't call. I mean,
Still
we should
unclear.
have. Huh?
Say it again.
What you said was not clear.
Can you
What I'm
repeat
trying
that?
to say. Yes.
Repeat what you said, brother.
Give me a second. I'm trying to
Oh,
say
I'm
it in another manner so you can understand what I'm saying.
And then make sure you don't have us on speaker or nothing like that, because that will cause.
I don't.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, sir.
So my issue is that this is a white boy who had no respect for life, and that wasn't even raised in y'all conversation. This is a history of this country. How do we let that slip by as there's something just strange about this one person?
Well,
Donald Trump.
I don't even get where you're coming from.
Before you respond. Donald Trump is just
No. Cut him off. Stop him, man. We don't talk about him on Fridays, dude.
I couldn't hear what you said.
We don't talk about that dude on Fridays.
Oh, okay. I'm
We only
sorry.
mention
Didn't know
his
that was a request.
Slip of the tongue. We'll give you that one.
But just to
Right.
go back to what you were saying, and you were saying how, you know, I think you were saying that it was in their nature, if I heard you right.
Exactly.
Okay, but all white people are not killers, man.
That ain't my point.
So what's your point?
My point is there's so many of them. We need to constantly raise that whenever that conversation needs
Yeah,
to be
but
spoken.
then
We did though. We said that it's inhumane to do that to anybody.
And I wish it was just white folks.
yeah,
And we specifically talked about, you know, the mindset that you have to have in order to
Right.
do that.
Right.
Now,
Okay,
yes,
now you
Trevor,
said
no, let
all
me
of those
finish. Let me
things,
finish.
but you
We
never
talked
did
about, but
say.
we talked about what happens in our own community, and then we also talked about what happens when it is others, i.e., police officers,
Yeah.
and this situation right here, Maxwell, against ourselves as well. We talked about the whole thing. As far as you talking about, there is no rage. No, we're not about to be yelling because we
No.
got the verdict that we wanted. Guilty.
I-
Now, if there wasn't if there was a non-guilty, then there
that'd be a
would have been
different-
some
yeah,
rage.
yeah.
But when they give us what we want, then we can't
So we got to do
still-
it by law. So
Yeah.
we got to do it by
Okay, but the guys, I hear what you're trying to say, but to me, that don't add up. The reason it doesn't add up is because we know this is a pattern.
Yeah,
So
but all
every
white
time-
people
wait,
don't do
just-
this,
just
brother.
Let me finish.
See,
Let
but
me
you
finish.
can't put that pattern on all white people. That's not
Let
fair
me
for you to do
finish.
that.
Let me finish. You have enough evidence that all white people should hear every time somebody does that. This is a white, young, sick body. And that is your history as white people.
I think we said that though.
Well, but I think that you don't
I
want to
don't
be.
think so.
But no, I don't think
But you know what I'm saying.
I think the danger in being pejorative is to say that this is more apt when we know that there are black people doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it was black people who killed that little boy and threw him away. You know, so when this is a human condition.
Yeah.
And I think that we can factor in all the history and everything that happens in America, but the chances of you and I being a victim of a homicide is going to be more likely someone who looks like us than a white person. Or if a white person is somebody's going to look like them. Now, this case takes on a whole lot of, because you had sex involved, you had race involved, you know, you had dismemberment. So you had all this stuff that really made it newsworthy, where people, but there are people every day getting killed. What about the young lady? They burn her up and threw her in the garbage can down in Kenosha. I mean, I'm just saying the question has to be, as human beings, because that's part of our humanity, right? That's why we have religion. That's why we have laws. Because
I hear what you're saying, but to me, that does not make the point. The point is that, wait a minute. No, just let me finish what I'm trying to say. For the past 200 years, we have had white people doing that. And every time we have conversations, we want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
But nobody's doing that.
This one is something different.
Nobody's doing
No,
that.
who said that?
Nobody's doing that. And then,
by not saying you can't put it all on all white people, man.
That's my point, Keith. You can't put that on all white people. I get his point.
Over time, you get a pattern.
Do we not have
but you can't put that on all white people
being engaged at one point or
that's
another?
what he's saying.
No. Here's the issue, that when you have laws that spell out how the process should play out, and then the majority of the time that doesn't get applied, particularly for us.
But you don't put that on all white people.
So no, I'm not saying it's put on all white people. But
that's what he's doing.
No, he's not. He's saying that.
Yes, he did. He just said it.
No, I
he's
did
saying
not.
that the majority of these crimes.
Not.
Wait, listen. He's saying the majority of these crimes since this country was founded, they make excuses for this type of thing.
Thank you.
And he said it's in their nature.
No,
that's what he said.
Okay.
I mean, you have to think about the things that we've been subjected to.
It don't matter right now. It don't matter, because right now, the instance that we're talking about, we got a guilty verdict.
That's true.
So that's all that we should be focusing on right now.
Exactly.
So to be bringing up other instances
is that
is null and void,
and not the rule.
We know that though, man.
And that's all he's saying.
So why can't we celebrate the guilty verdict? We're not though, because he's talking about why we're not enraged.
He's pointing out.
No, you ain't hearing.
I'm sorry, man. My bad. I was just going to say that was pretty quick.
No, he's just pointing out the fact that this has been the way this has been.
How? Let me ask you.
MO.
Well, let me ask you. When you kind of do this whole thing, first of all, it's anecdotal. It is not statistically probably valid. How often
we can look at an OJ?
How often does a white man kill a black woman, chop her up, and throw her away? How often does that happen?
I mean, we don't know.
Not often.
Well, obviously, it must not happen often because we don't know. So we're talking about a very extreme. This is an extreme case by any measure. So you can't use that as the rule. Now, to say that we have not had systemic murdering of brown and black bodies, nobody's making that argument.
Right.
But to also say, because here's the problem.
So
if I put that in the nature of white folks, what happens when white folks turn around and say there's certain things in your nature?
Well, that's what they have done.
But don't make it right.
That's right.
So I'm not going to do what isn't right
is that that's the
because
world
they
we
did it.
live in.
No, but that,
I heard the other day. Wait, listen.
But I'm saying we haven't seen this kind of heinous crime since Jeffrey Dahmer happened.
Based on a statistic that young black men will not read at a certain level, will not graduate from high school, and so they built prisons based on that. How many times do you hear the statistic that that's what's going to apply based on stats from white kids?
That white kid in that same situation.
I thought that was just in kids in general,
right?
No.
This was black youth
and
and
race specific.
I thought that was you because you got poor whites. You got poor whites with the same situation.
Have you ever heard the statistics broadcast that the prisons are being built based on the educational development of white children?
Reading scores.
Like I said, I've never heard that for black children. What I've heard is that they've done that based off of kids, based off of a specific grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, not black 3rd graders, not black 4th graders. It's just 3rd grade, the grade.
How do you do it in a state like Idaho that don't have a whole lot of black folks?
Right.
They use that same data in Idaho where you don't have a whole lot of black folks.
So this is nationwide.
But I think, but I think
they are taking those.
But this is the thing, though, fellas.
But you're saying that they're only doing it for black kids and not white kids. I don't hear that. What I hear is the specific grade that all kids are in. That's where they're gathering that data from and building those.
So chances are you're going to have.
And you work in the industry, so to speak.
Right.
Chances are you're going to have more black kids based on where they are in terms of the economy, the social strata that's going to fit into that. But you got a whole lot of white kids that are fitting into that.
Now,
that whole reading piece that they're
Yeah.
talking about in this country,
Yeah.
that's a crisis. Now, maybe not so much if you're in Greendale or Greenfield, but if you're in Waushara County, these poor white counties, you find that they're dealing with some of the same issues when it
But
comes
that's
to
where the
learning.
connection comes with what brother's saying,
No.
and as it relates to this country,
Bro.
is that they put policies and procedures and the discretion that the system will use when they look at a white child coming into the system, and particularly into the criminal justice system.
Wait.
And that, like the affluenza kid who ran over and killed 4 people, and his parents come and
Correct.
his attorney come in and say, well, he suffers from affluenza. He's never been told that what he's done is wrong. But then when it's a black child, it gets put through the same.
It's called
same
racism.
crime.
It's called racism.
I'm just saying.
So
it's the system.
But Craig, look at this.
Go ahead.
If you put me, a young black, okay, well, I'm gonna use DJ.
You ain't no young black nothing.
Well, no,
You
I'm
might
gonna
have
use
used
me.
to have been.
I'm gonna use me. So you use a black man with locks, right?
Mhm.
You stand me next to that
You did it.
young, exactly. You stand me next to that young man right there that was in court with the haircut.
Mhm.
We not knowing what his crime is, right? We never like wait.
Us.
The people,
we don't know.
The
We
perception.
don't know.
We don't know, right? So you stand me next to this white man, and then the question is asked: who do you think would quit? Who do you think that would commit the most violent crime? Who do you think they gonna say?
Based on conditions.
Who you gonna say?
I'm not gonna say the black man with the lock.
Yes, you is.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you is.
No, I'm not.
Because wait.
No,
Let me tell you what. Hold on. Wait. Because
see, that's
wait,
not right.
Because right, exactly, and that's my point.
Because we could
Wait a
stand
minute.
you and him together.
Wait a minute.
And say,
let me make my
would be
point.
capable
Let me
of-
make.
Who do you
y'all
think
not
of
let
these
me.
two
Let me
inmates
make my point. Debo.
dismembered,
Let
cut
me-
up, killed,
Debo.
strangled,
That's not what I'm saying.
and they gonna pick that white boy?
Let me make my point. What I'm saying is, if I
Right. If you lay the crime
if you
out,
detail it like that, but if you say, you stand me next to the white dude and say, who do you think? Listen to the wording and what I'm saying. Don't move the goalpost.
All right, come on.
If you stand me next to the dude and say, who do you think is going to commit the crime? Who do you think is going to commit a violent crime? They're going to say me because of how
Implicit
we've been
bias.
conditioned. We've been
Implicit bias.
conditioned. Man with locks, man look a certain kind of
let me
way. He
ask you
going to
this
commit a
question,
crime.
Brother
And this
Jermaine.
is what this
Brother
brother was
Jermaine.
saying,
Brother Jermaine.
but it's reversed.
Let me ask you this question, Brother Jermaine. Based on the circumstances of
No,
this
that's
case,
different.
Oh, but why is that different? Because we believe,
Now he
Exactly.
talking like Red
and
on
again,
Friday.
don't move the goalpost as you just
we
said.
That's
believe
his
who's
point.
more likely to commit a crime like that.
Again, that
And
makes his
then we
point is
get
condition.
wait a minute. Then we get the DC sniper.
And everybody thought he was black. Did anybody see that Saturday Night Live episode that when they was laying out the crime, trying to figure out who was the color of the
Did
people
you
that did
think
it?
originally that the
I saw
DC
that.
sniper
Yeah.
was
There was
black?
no way I thought
Nobody thought he was black. Everybody
Nobody
thought he was
thought
black.
he was
No,
black.
Why not?
Because that's
Because
something
we don't
that we don't do
typically.
until it
him.
happens.
I mean, it's the same
With
with
a
mass
centric energy-
shootings.
But
With
That's
a
what
certain-
it-
based on
but what I'm saying,
the
Craig,
number of
it comes down to
combats.
mindset. It's a mindset.
certain types of mass shootings.
Nah,
Because
mass
we do-
shooting on
no,
28th and Clark,
Because
yeah,
we do-
Junebug did that.
Right. If you did a drive-by and you shot 5 people, that's a mass shooting.
No, I'm talking about from the Vegas hotel suite.
Well, you knew
And,
that. You knew that
you
was a
know,
white boy.
That's high level.
That's all I'm saying.
That's high level.
You know, and all these things are based on
But
conditioning.
the great
That's
danger,
conditional thinking.
but the great danger you have is
Jermaine.
to apply this to everybody, because you will then have where the DC sniper was then able to kill more people. They could not accept biases that a black man would do. I'll never forget. We had this. We were on retreat, and we were there at the Burning Cave. I mean, we found out the DC sniper, and so we sat the kids down and talked about it. I'll never forget. This one sister raised her hand, and she said, "I said, well, are you surprised that a black man is doing it?" She said, "Oh yeah, I wonder." And then she said, because black people are not that organized. Her like, you know,
Is
it's
it
conditioning.
Or is it? But you got to admit, somebody in the trunk having to shoot out the trunk was ingenious.
Cold-blooded. No,
Yes, he was. That wasn't his son. That wasn't his son. It's like the nephew, like that, right? Yeah. Have him. He didn't take the back seat out and shoot out of the truck.
What's his son?
So you never saw.
We're listening to the little voice callers. We're going to get you. I hope. Well, take a break.
Parris and Devon Jones, DJ The Protege.
Let me do this real quickly. Just kind of pull up on John Allen Muhammad was the DC sniper. He was sentenced.
And what was
to
the
death in
kid with him?
2000.
Malvo.
Malvo was the kid. Lee Boyd Malvo was the 17-year-old. He was sentenced to death. He was executed in 2009. Malvo, a juvenile, received 6 life sentences in Maryland and 3 in Virginia. In 2017, Malvo's life sentences in Virginia were vacated without parole on appeal. So, all right, caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You're on there.
Hey, what's going on, DJ?
All right, yourself?
I like the way you said that we won't yell about what I clearly heard the disgust in anybody who's willing to murder anybody, and the even more increased disgust that you guys had for people who dismember other human beings.
Absolutely.
And, that's what I heard all of y'all say. So I think the previous caller I don't want to paraphrase anybody's statement except for Brother Meach, whose name I won't mention today because his family is going through turmoil. But Monday I'm looking forward to his comment. I think what he's trying to say is that these particular crimes of dismemberment and school shootings are definitely statistically more lean towards a certain race, which is not ours, by large numbers, like 87 or 90 some percent of those types of things happen with that culture of people. But of humanity, most humans do not kill people. Probably 97% of people never kill anybody. So to say that it's a part of somebody's culture, you guys are correct in saying that. And if y'all make comments about the game, I'll like to hear those.
I'm gonna get this next caller, and then we're gonna get to that. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You're on there.
Good morning, my man. Good morning. Hey, listen, I don't know who that dude is always calling, mentioning my name. He ain't got nothing else to do. He's going to call a girlfriend. No. I mean, he's going to say, I'm not going to mention Brother Meach, but he said Brother Meach. He's going to say turmoil. Negro, my family is not in turmoil. We doing blessed over here.
That ain't what he talking about. Bruh. That ain't the family he talking about, but go on.
Okay. Well, anyway, he needs to just let why he keep picking on me. He is old off-duty police officer.
Come on, man. That's your point, man. Don't be sensitive.
No, I'm not sensitive. Let me get to this, man. Let me get to business. Okay, Right Out said some good stuff. Right Out said that this clown that cut this baby up, you understand me? They didn't excavate his house after his neighbor said he seen him digging holes back there, talking about he making bunkers as for his pigs. They then shot what's that girl's name? Janaea Walker also worked at Piece of Shuttle 2 years ago, and she was just got a summer job there, 16. We haven't found her yet. That's what the outrage needs to be. Where's Janaea Walker? Okay, that worked at Piece of Shuttle. She's been missing ever since. And then this other guy called in. He's trying to get us militarized so we can go out and break up some stuff. And we can steal some TVs. Well, we should be upset. Negro, go somewhere and sit down. We got a missing baby from Piece of Shuttle. We got a serial killer that just got found guilty, and he knows where some nobodies is at. There was DNA in the man house. Where's that out? Where's your mayor at? Okay, where's your county exec at? Where's your police chief? Where's your little county, your whole county supervisor? What about your alderman people? We got a missing baby, man, from Piece of Shadow, man, 2022. And y'all not pissed off. And that other clown that keep calling in, always talking about me. Hey, man, why don't you get to know a player, man? You probably want to be one. You did. So you get it on the phone. You're just like certain Hughes want to be a nigga like me so bad till you can't do nothing else but talk about me. But if you knew who I was, you might be saying, me ain't a bad guy. Clown. Niggas a clown.
I appreciate you, man.
Now I've rarely agreed with Meach on any show. But what he just said,
that's true.
I agree with him, and I gotta give him his flower. He's right. Where is the chick that went missing from the Piece of Shuttle? And if there was other blood that was in this man's house, why is there not investigation if that blood didn't come back to be for the person that you was looking for, and then you found that it's different blood in the house? You just stopped the investigation overall. It has to be something else going on.
It's tied to money.
It's that part. And money rules everything around.
Well, but I'm talking about the budget that you will hear from the DA's office.
I think his father got some money.
But we're talking about the public money now, because this is what I was told as it related to why the state didn't do, or why the state won't follow through on investigations, because they talk about, they don't have the resources to get it done.
You're black.
That's
ain't the resources.
So they gotta have an avenue to take that down, rather than saying it's because it is
black,
right.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about this systemic problem.
Yeah.
What the desired effect. So this is something that's been put. I mean, you talked about who controls the media, controls the message and the method, right? So since the beginning of the country, this is where they've been operating.
Yeah.
It's like, we know that this man killed Medgar Evers, but we're gonna let him continue to live his life until 30 years later, and then he gets found guilty after he done, lived the majority of his productive years, if you will. And this is the way they operate.
Emmett Till.
Yeah, there it is.
Right. Now it's time for the Protege's perspective.
Everyone has a group of individuals that they hold intimate conversations with, whether it be out of frustration or looking for guidance. These types of conversations happen amongst those who are closely intertwined with one another. So many people are the go-to person for friends and family members when it comes to providing words of wisdom. Often these people enlighten others to a broader perspective in an effort to avoid unfortunate conditions. The words or wisdom provided is given so that those individuals does not make matters worse. In most cases, the advice that's shared comes from a caring place and often comes from a shared experience. Each one, teach one, expands a multitude of ways, interactions, and circumstances. The advice can be so edifying that your loved ones continue to seek your wisdom or advice when it comes to being in times of need. You continue to assist your loved ones because you care deeply for them. After you've provided them with your genuine perspective, where is that knowledge applied to yourself? Frequently, people are consumed with helping others that they are oblivious to applying that same knowledge to their own lives. Life is full of phrases. Practice what you preach. That's a universal saying that many, if not everyone, has heard before. Another phrase that's similar to the previous one is simply take your own advice. There are many reasons why you should take your own advice. One is that others consistently come to you for it. Two, if your advice is good enough for others and they keep coming back, then certainly it's good enough for you. Your words are a reflection of you, and therefore things that you speak represent who you are and what you are perceived to do. Three, your actions is what make your words come to life. Your words, accompanied with your actions, is what will make your message fulfilled. The truth is, we don't always take our own advice. But who better to utilize that advice than the person who's giving it? Remember, as you're giving advice to others, you too need to take heed to that same advice. After all, it's in you, comes from you, and it's only there to help you become a better you.
That boy deep. That boy deep.
And it deep too.
All right. Talking to yourself makes you feel much better. Knowing where the trouble lies, my dear.
If I could right here, I just want to shout out this Eskridge family. we lost a good brother.
Greg.
Yeah. Lost a good brother
Co-worker.
a couple weeks ago. I known Greg for over 30 plus years, just in a group of fellas, and he's well known by many. But I was at the funeral.
When
and
that
that
funeral?
Saturday. No. Friday.
That's right.
You missed that one, Keith.
Yeah, I got enough of them.
I don't know. I'm off on my dates. It was just a couple days ago. It was Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
First thing
that
to go.
very topic was talked about as it relates to his family and those who spoke. They talked about his counsel and him being one who would share it, from a place of love, concern, genuine concern. And afterwards, I had a chance to talk with some of the brothers who were part of this group, and recognizing that, as DJ just said, it seems that in whether it's groups or families, like they say, birds of a feather flock together. You get to meet people and understand that, they've been given gifts and talents to provide, counsel or a word, whether it's encouragement or just something to help us keep going. And I think we all have encountered that. And then a shout out to a couple of the brothers, Jerry Addison, David Zollicoffer, Kerwin.
Zollicoffer?
Yeah.
Zolly? Who?
Yeah, I know Zolly. Zolly been,
Yeah, they passed away. You talking about Zolly?
No, not this Zolly. He didn't pass away. He was at the funeral. But just some of the brothers that was, there. Raymond Renfro. These are some brothers who were pretty close.
Renfro? No,
Roderick
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And I found out that George knew him.
You said Bobby Rush was there?
Yeah, we were co-workers.
Okay.
You said Bobby Rush was there?
Roderick Rush.
Oh, I thought you said Bobby Rush.
Yeah.
They may be related. But just to shout out those fellas.
Bobby ain't dead.
We used to call me
Jermaine, why you trying to kill everybody?
Because Keith trying to put a black sheep over my chair.
The way he laughed. So
You know?
that laugh. I was like, man, yeah. Shakita told me Monday when she was in, because we were all down at the county together. So when I heard that,
So, gentlemen, can I ask a question quickly?
There you go.
No. I ain't gonna try to start no stuff. I've heard it mentioned, if you will, a couple of times this morning, and there's some things that you guys disclosed this morning that I wasn't aware of, because I know Sade Robinson worked at Pizza Shuttle, and you're telling me that there's another employee that has been missing for 3 years from Pizza Shuttle.
Yeah, she was working at Pizza Shuttle. Yeah, she was one of the employees at Pizza Shuttle. Young black girl.
So is it possible that we're looking at a serial killer that has not been uncovered?
Yeah, I was saying that, man, like somebody else's blood was in that house.
See, that's the strange thing, is why wouldn't they
That part, that's
find
what I'm
out
saying.
from the DNA,
Like, who blood is it?
capabilities now that they have?
Yeah.
Why don't they do that type of work? And they should have a duty to do that kind of
Are we
work.
certain
But they knew
are
that
we
it
certain
wasn't
that they
Sade's
haven't,
blood?
and it just turned out to be a dead end?
But they knew it wasn't Sade's blood because they made it known that the blood that was found in the
and
house
it wasn't his
hers.
either. So
And
that
it wasn't
that
his.
they-
So who blood is it? Like, blood don't just appear in your crib.
So now they should be seeking out.
It just don't stay there.
It don't appear
you
neither.
could cut yourself.
Yeah, but
but
it would be
you
your
just-
blood.
But it would be
bro.
your
Right.
blood if you
Let me
cut
say
and
yourself.
then you will wipe it up.
And
You know,
maybe the
you just wouldn't
difference
stay.
in this and maybe other cases, just how this family kept it in the forefront. It was the family that kept not the other sister, but Sade Robinson. It was her family
Yeah.
that was out there. The visuals they
Yeah.
did, the searching for her.
Yeah.
So they kept it, because what can happen is it can happen, and then we'd have moved on. We're in our next news cycle.
Yeah.
So the fact that
that is a big part
they
of it.
put it out there, that makes a real big difference. When you have someone told me many years ago, working in the juvenile justice system, they said that a lot of times you would have particularly young black males who would come in and there's nobody there from their family advocating
Yep,
for them.
that's true.
They're there.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
true.
And so the judge's mindset is, well, if the family don't care,
Yep. Why should I?
why should I
Mhm.
care?
Yeah,
you know, and I think
but that's inhumane, and we
But
talked about that earlier.
Judges operate from a guideline.
No. That is true.
They have a range of what that charge carries. They look at your priors.
No, wait.
All of that factors in.
Listen. They supposed to, but I ended up going to court for one of my good friends because none of his family was around and able to show, and he started reaching out to his friends to show up because the more people, when you're getting sentenced, the more people that's there, the judge look at that. And this is exactly what the judge told him. I was sitting in the courtroom. He said, "Sir, you got a lot of support over there, and I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing that your family and friends love you. I'm not going to sentence you to the max, but I am going to sentence you to such and such years." And it was way less than what he would have got. And I really believe, I really believe that by the judge looking out and seeing the support that was there for this young man, that makes a difference.
But that's his point, that there's certain guidelines, and then also Craig has said this many times, this is a human being, and they make such judgments based off of discretion. He did that based off, or she, I don't know what type of judge, but that was based off their discretion.
If he didn't have support system, they would have looked at that like they would have threw you away. They would have threw you away.
But if his priors spoke to his,
he had priors. He had priors. No,
he had to consider is the person who's sitting on the bench and where their mind is.
That part.
Discretion is to their disposal. Here's the thing. I've just looked at this critical race theory. I just looked this up yesterday as it relates to some things that I'm dealing with in my son's case. But that critical race theory piece has been so prevalent. And back to what the brother was talking about, since the beginning of this country, it has been there, and it is what they operate on. They have been operating on it. It's there's a whole sector of just the legal system and how critical race theory has applied to us.
But I could say this, in a situation I'm intimately aware of, and it made a difference that the parents and others were there. What that person could have gotten, they didn't get, and the judge said, because you all are here,
the support.
So when that's
still
why
discretion, though.
That's called that discretion. Is part of being a judge.
But you're making this seem like that is a reason. Guess what?
If
a reason
for what?
What I'm saying is, whether people are there or not, the judge has discretion. Yes,
he does.
It is true.
He still has discretion.
He has discretion. He has discretion. But
so here we go.
But his decision was made off of the support system. I ain't been talking.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Keith was just talking.
Dude, you have discretion no matter what. You have discretion no matter what.
But because of the support system,
whether I use the discretion, it's on me. It's not on you.
I get it, but
you don't get it.
I do, because he didn't get the years. He didn't get the years because of the support.
I'm saying the same thing. The discretion is what allows him to look at the support and say, I'm going to give you this.
Dude,
as opposed to this.
So guess what?
That's what I said.
So guess what? It's been we're not saying the same, because it's been plenty of people who've had an enormous amount of support, and that judge chose not to use that discretion. Okay. So you cannot just say
that judge can say, where were y'all at when he was making this poor decision?
The judge.
Based on his priors, I'm banking.
The judge made this decision because of these people are here. No, that's not the reason. It's because they chose to look at themselves.
Let me ask you a question.
And use
in terms
such
of what
discretion.
You do professionally. Do you have kids that you go to court with?
Yeah.
Why are you there?
I mean, because that's my job.
Okay, I know it's your job, but what's your job while you're there?
To support.
And to provide. Could that have impact with a judge or a court commissioner? It could. That's all we saying. We ain't saying that it's always in every case, DJ.
But it couldn't. And on top of that,
it could, but it could, right?
My specific job is there to report. Yes, because I care. I'm using my discretion to care. I care for that individual.
All of us. The good thing is that that's starting to apply more to us.
All of us are right, because I'm going to tell you that there's been some cases, and just because of the people who supported that individual, the amount of time that they got was far less had they not had the support.
You could have people there, and you get an enormous amount of time.
DJ, I guess
that don't matter.
Don't make it absolute. You are making it absolute.
Y'all making it absolute.
No,
what I'm
saying
saying
it could have an impact.
It's judge specific.
It is. It is just specific.
So saying that because individuals was there or not is the reason why they got this specific sentence. No, it's because of that judge decided to give that individual that specific sentence. Not because we was there or not.
They have something. They have
and
something
the prosecutor has something to do with
called
that too.
victim impact statements.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you taking a victim impact statement? Because the judge is factoring that in. The judge is also going to take the probation report. What does probation say? And if you have a certain level of support,
they're going to take that into
that.
consideration.
Now, does
too.
that mean that you might not get the time? Of course, but I'm not saying if you have a kid who goes out to juvie and he's in juvie court and the parents don't even bother to be there, that judge may or may not say, well, because they're human beings. I'm not saying that the judge doesn't have discretion. Of course, the judge has discretion.
Right.
The judge has guidelines. Of course, the judge has guidelines. But why would you I've been asked to write letters on behalf of someone. I mean, so that means it could. Not that it might, that it would, but it could.
So you mean to tell me that all of this is because they wanted to do it or because it's a part of the court process? It's because of the court process that they have to do all of that.
It's both.
Because at the end of the day, if you're in front of a judge, it's incumbent on that judge to utilize whatever discretion that they have. I could have 1 million people in the courtroom riding for me. Guess what? That will not matter in that judge's eyes because it's incumbent
but you could have another
on whatever
judge
they decide to put on.
Right, but you could have another judge where that does have impact. All I'm saying is that there's a reason for that. You're going to bring that patient report. So I don't even know. I'm telling you, this is. I don't know if he is, but this is a hanging judge. This dude's the maximum time. It's too high. There's no way. First of all, the jury comes back in less than 50 minutes.
He got an enormous amount of support?
He has none. His family didn't even show up. They just made comment. His family didn't show up.
Okay. So now, if she decides to not give him the maximum, then what?
What is she factoring in?
What I'm saying is that's her discretion. It don't matter if people are there or not.
They have the latitude to work with.
Well, whatever the minimum or the maximum.
Whatever minimum or the you still have time.
You guys are old enough or young enough to remember. There was a judge called the sheriff. They said he would say, hey, look out that window right there. And see how many pigeons is out there.
I sat in this courtroom and we would give you the years of the pigeon and the birds that was in there.
Difference to him.
When he was a racist, it didn't matter.
Don't make no difference.
Was in that
He did what he
I
could.
sat in this courtroom. I sat in this courtroom.
I saw come in and heard nothing.
That's right.
She probably was not right to the program. There are also factors. Yeah. Nobody said no.
Good morning.
He's riding for that person or not. It's
could
all
matter.
Good
on
morning,
that
brother
judge.
Chris.
It could
Yes,
matter.
sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Assalamu alaikum to you all.
Alaikum salam.
I do not have a speech impediment. Well, I was listening. I've been listening. Sometimes I listen. Sometimes I don't. But listening about you all going over this situation that took place with the Caucasian man who did something similar to Jeffrey Dahmer, like a reenactment. And then I heard the one older brother who was talking about Caucasians, and it baffles me a lot when I hear people who say things like all white people or all these people aren't this or that way. And mathematically, I'm thinking like, well, you don't know all of these people, first off, because you don't have enough time to develop a relationship to be able to actually determine that. And part of the reason of that is because they have laws.
And since those laws can be applied, therefore they will not do these things because there will be consequences that will be dire for them. And I think that what the older brother was pointing to, which I will speak to, is the nature of things. Nature is the very, very key factor when it comes to the behavior of a thing, a person in particular. And if an established pattern has been established, there is an established pattern, the likelihood or probability, we're beyond possible, we're improbable. So with the knowledge that we have, retrospectively speaking, with our experience here, the truth of it all, because what we have endured and continue to endure, the nature of these people must come into question when it comes to dealing with us. And since we were raised, manufactured, made, shaped, molded here in America, then of course we will do the things of those who have set the pattern or whose society that we have grown up in, because we don't have a comprehensive knowledge of ourselves at all. Because if that were the case, then we would be more excellent than we are as a collective nation of people. And I wanted to say this. When it comes to the Caucasian, he's referenced as the rider of the pale horse. And in the Holy Quran, Allah tells the angels that he's going to place a ruler in the earth, one who would be a shedder of blood, a mischief maker. So, and the angels they asked, with certain humility, we extol thy praise, and I forget the rest, but they were asking why for the most part. And Allah said, for he knows what you know not. The purpose of the Caucasian, that's why the race word exists. They are going to be here for a short period of time. They've been here for 6,000 years, 6 millennia. Their world has, and their system of things has ran its course. It's reached its zenith. And we are seeing the complete collapse of it right before our very eyes. So the word of the day is nature. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I mean, we are all a product of our environment, and the nature piece is something that you have to take into consideration when you speak about the totality of all of the actions that have been committed.
In Haiti, they chop people up. These ain't white people. Human beings, regardless of.
But we're not in Haiti, though.
My point is, we're the danger in saying that this is some trait of Europeans, when in effect the evidence says it's traits of humanity and human beings. People do what they do. I wonder, do we have the same reaction if that was a brother that had chopped her up? Would it even gotten the same attention?
But when you have a history of a people who will take your child and rip it from your belly, take a child and feed it to an alligator, strap your men between 4 horses and quarter draw, this is where these thoughts are just part of our psyche, part of our memory, even though we didn't see them.
No place
we
else
know
in the
that
world,
they happen. No, I'm not saying that. We're talking about here.
Okay.
And because this is the construct
right.
within which we have been born into, and then as his point, he said the nature of these things happening, when they're odd to you because it's not something you see yourself doing.
Because the majority of people don't do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But when it does happen, and then it has happened, then even today, you ask yourself, where's this thought of white supremacy? That whole mindset, it pervasiveness perpetuated in 2025, and
He did it because he was white.
No, and so now you get into a place where this whole movement is going back.
Listen to community voice. This was heavier than I like on Fridays, but okay, we got through it. I mean, sometimes the world intrudes.
I think because of the verdict, that came in, and certainly, I think that there should be some intense watching and paying attention to, if you will, of what kind of sentence is going to be handed down.
Right.
I mean, I don't know
Like
if you
say,
can,
this is twofold.
Yeah, I don't know if you can send the judge letters or what have you, but there's in no way should any kind of leniency be shown. I just don't. I think he went through too many hoops and bounds, if you will, to try to cover up. He's not crazy. He ain't deranged, none of the above when it comes to that, because he was smart enough that he tried to
get away with it,
cover his steps. Modern technology just beat him at the end with all of the camera footage and different ways that they were able to tie this piece together and get us to this point today. So again, I think it's incumbent upon us as a community to make sure that the judicial system knows that we're watching.
Yeah. I think that he just thought he was going to get away with it, and he was actually getting by with
Every
it.
criminal thinks they get
away, but you only get by for a season, but you're going to get caught. And again, just like what we was talking about, I don't think that this is his first time around the block. He just got caught this time.
Look at that baby on that screen, DJ. That's a baby. No, right there in front of you. That's a baby, man.
Right.
Although she was a grown woman, she's still a baby.
We still got a few minutes left. So the game last night.
What the hell? Tyler Burke, boy.
The Haliban.
Dude, that boy. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted Oklahoma to win, but after Indiana went on that 12-2 run and they was hitting everything, I was like, if they play like this, it's over.
I mean, it's unusual. I think it's unlikely that OKC won't score in the last 2 minutes again, though. They missed shots.
But that defense, though,
they missed wide open looks right at the rim.
Every home team.
What did I tell y'all? Nobody paid me no attention.
Game one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Indiana, but I see Indiana coming out of this one.
Yeah, I think I do too. Now.
I don't think that they're gonna.
And the only reason I'm rooting for them is because they beat the Bucks. So at least we'll be able to say we lost to the champs.
See, but you got this cat that got 5. Is it 5 game winners or 4 game winners? Either way, it's one of them. He got 4 or 5 game winners, and the whole NBA got 3.
Well, what I'm
a good team,
but how does it even come down to that when you're up by 12?
Yeah,
at home. I think OKC
missed shots.
OKC's believing the hype where they talked about it was going to be such a dominant series.
They thought they was just going to walk in, show up.
How hungry these guys are. You need to come back with a. Now, I noticed a lot of people got on Indiana's bandwagon between yesterday morning and this morning, but
really.
Yeah, man.
I said it from the gate.
You missed 7-8 shots in the last 2.5 minutes. You can't hold a lead.
Yeah, but go to the rack.
They were at the rack.
Man,
right there with his little flip.
Yeah,
they just missed
but the majority of those shots was threes. They was letting them threes ride.
Shea missed his signature, step back.
And there's something else.
They all were missing shots.
There's something else to be said, and I pointed this out yesterday. I read the stats. When you look at it on paper, Indiana statistically, you can't do the wins just because of the number of wins that OKC had, but statistically, they're number 1 in defense. They're number 1 in offense.
Yeah,
that surprised me.
Yeah.
No,
during the league
in the NBA.
Yeah,
they're number 1
over the past.
No,
defense.
Pull up defensive, offensive efficiency. They are number 1. OKC is number 2.
Yeah,
they're number 2. Yeah.
And
pull the stat up.
What I don't understand about coaching is you got 2 timeouts.
No, it's over the season.
So you got 2 timeouts.
Statistically,
I'm gonna check that.
Yeah,
2 timeouts. Oklahoma had 2 timeouts. And why would you, first of all, take these timeouts home with you?
Well,
that's dumb.
The challenge,
but use one of them, because even though when they came and you see that they cut the lead down to 3, call a timeout so you can regroup your players, because they was running down the court like they was tired. They was playing on fumes. So call a timeout. Let's regroup, fellas. Run a play from the timeout that we can score and at least go up by 3. Because when they came down and missed that shot, Indiana was down by 1, and then you put the ball in their hands to close out the game.
Clean up on aisle 6.
Uh-oh.
Okay, is number 1 in both of those.
Uh-oh.
From the NBA?
It's a well, no, not in offense. Offense was Cleveland. Defense was OKC. Because I thought that.
I'm just looking.
I'm saying
Indiana is number 2 in offensive rating.
Well, you got to look at who y'all getting y'all sources.
Somebody phone line.
I'm getting it from NBA.com.
All I'm saying is
you must be talking about the playoffs then.
And that's what I was getting at. It was that
because it say games
they
played
made reference
17.
to that. When the playoffs started is that Indiana had won, and ran the most efficient offense and defense over the past, month or so, something like that. So,
because remember, Indiana didn't get hot until January,
right?
Yep.
I'm
just saying, but if you go in, they even take
and they are playing good ball right now.
Oh yeah,
it's just that simple.
They by far,
but they
playing
the best
really
team.
Good.
So it should be a good matchup. You talk about small markets, this and that and the other.
You make me look like, dude.
What I do?
Did I hear Indiana yesterday?
Yeah.
Where?
No, you didn't hear from me. I was really on the OKC bandwagon.
So what happened between yesterday and today?
Just
they played the game.
No,
That's what happened. They played the game.
Them playing and me seeing how the coaching went down.
It's only game
like
one.
to the stretch.
I like to see 7 games.
It's only game 1.
So my best friend, he always texts me the betting, so I give him some tidbits.
Yeah.
He didn't take my advice. I gave him +10 Indiana.
Oh.
He went under 220 for the total. Well, they got 221, and but Indiana won. If you would have did the +10,
he would have won.
He would have got some money. I always feel wary of home teams in game 1.
Denver beat them game 1,
but you do know playoffs.
Underdog.
Playoffs start.
You never look past underdog. Man.
Yeah, but playoffs start when the road team win.
And I think the final be it
because if you could take that home court advantage, because if you could take that home court advantage away from that team and you going back home and you hungry, it's a dangerous thing.
The playoffs start when you got extra games after the regular season.
Well, that's the technical version of the.
All that.
I ain't even gonna get into it with DJ, man. I ain't even gonna do this.
You're not in the playoffs yet.
Win the championship for their franchise for the first time. Correct.
Who's talking about?
Both of them. Yep.
No, because OKC really is under Seattle umbrella.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they won in that organization. Yeah,
I thought the Pelicans was.
No,
Pelicans were they an expansion?
They were expansion team.
Expansion team.
Yeah.
Okay. Seattle and OKC is intertwined.
Okay.
Because Kevin Durant was playing for Seattle.
Right. He was with the.
Oh, they loaded up on number 1 overall pick.
You had what was that boy? Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp was
a beast.
You got to call it too, brother.
Well, actually, we got to go.
Yeah, it's time. It's that time.
You want to take it?
Because we got to get that other stuff together. So
okay, well, hold on. I got something for you, brother. Let me make sure I do it for you.
All right. Here's the bells.
School is out.
Great.
Be safe. Be peaceful. Over the summer.
DJ.
Hey. Nice weekend.
If all you know, you might have seen it clear. Oh, I'm sorry. Say no, but don't. Little guys, really quick, everybody, y'all have a safe weekend, and as always, that's the place to be.